Do you want to know things about the Patrick Ta blushes that no one that I've seen on YouTube will tell you? I've just purchased the 3 new shades from the spring release, and I have a lot of thoughts on them as a fair to light skin tone person. And I have also a lot to say when it comes to the cream because I have She's So LA and I've had it for the past 2 years, but I almost never reach for the cream on top of the powder. So I have thoughts that will maybe, if you want to try the Patrick Ta blushes or if they're intimidating to you, you can find this helpful, because I know that now I have a new mindset when it comes to these blushes. Even though I love the formula, I think there are things that nobody talks about here on YouTube. Maybe they love the makeup artist. I love Patrick Ta, and maybe they think that they shouldn't say this, or maybe they love a super intense blush. But I found as a makeup artist that most people that I've taught makeup lessons to, they wanna be able to wear their blush without it being TikTokish or overwhelming. So if you want to see my thoughts on these blushes, you want to see them swatch on my face. I'm a blush lover. Blush is the most loved product from my makeup collection, and it's just the way that I love to complement a look. I adore blush, and if you have been to my channel, you know that I'm starting to do more blush face swatching videos. I just posted my top 14 new blushes from my collection, so you're gonna be loving this one because I'm doing comparison between the shades. I also grabbed She's Blushing. So if you want to see this, if you want to try these blushes but you don't know where to start, then just keep on watching. To start, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you today how I applied not too much, and I used a super light hand with it. You can see the end result, and I'm also gonna do a story and a clip from my phone so you can see it in person. It doesn't look overwhelming. It looks pinker in person, and it looks brighter in person on my skin tone than what it looks on camera, but it looks a lot like it looks on camera. It looks soft and subdued, but for that I had to use a very light hand. So that's one thing to love about these blushes. Regardless of your skin tone, you're able to use them, but also you have to keep in mind that the lighter your hand, the best is gonna suit you if you have a fair to light skin tone. And also the colors show different on different skin tones. This is not news. This is not only from Patrick Ta blushes. Blushes look different on different skin tones, and the whiter you are, the more true to color the pigment of the blush is gonna show on your skin. So just keep that in mind. If you see something that is super nude, in some people it's gonna look more orangey, more yellow, more pinky, depending on the undertone of the blush. It has to do with your undertone, and it also has to do with the undertone of the blush. But the whiter you are and the less pigment you have on your skin, the more true to color the pigment of the blush is gonna show. I was going through a roller coaster of feelings when I was doing this video yesterday, even though I love the formula, so that's not even in question. I adore the Patrick Ta formula because She's So LA. It's one of the blushes that I love. I didn't put She's So LA on my nude blushes because I don't consider it a nude blush. I feel like it looks super rosy on me, a lot more deeper than the blushes that I consider a nude on my skin. I know it's a nude for a lot of people, but it's not a nude for me. So it's one of my top blushes, but it's just not one of my top nude blushes in my collection. I've always wanted, as a Patrick Ta blush fan, to come up with blushes that were suited for bridal. I'm a bridal makeup artist, and I've been a bridal makeup artist for almost 10 years now, and I always wanted to try more colors from his formula, but I promised myself that I wasn't gonna do it because they look too bright for what I love to use, not only on myself but on my clients as well. Most of them are not as light as I am, but they're light to medium and medium to tan, and I know that I wanna incorporate colors that look more soft and bridal on them because they don't like a bright blush as regular human beings that are not here on YouTube or that are not creating content. Yesterday I had an online makeup class with a person. She lives in Miami, and she was telling me that she has 2 Patrick Ta blushes, but that she doesn't really know how to use them in order for them to look natural on her skin, because she likes a natural flush of color and she almost never wears makeup. So when she wears it, she wanted to look as seamless and as natural as possible. It was good that I purchased these blushes because now knowing the colors that she purchased, I can tell her how to use them in order for them to look more natural when we have the second makeup lesson. What I'm trying to get at is that even if you love YouTube, but you're a regular person that goes to a 9 to 5 or just wants to go to work without looking like you have too much blush on your skin, you have to apply these blushes in a different way, and I'm gonna give you two options. The first one is that these blushes are more subdued if you only use the powder. I realized that the cream not only will give you back the glow of the blush, the powder blush is not flat whatsoever. It's beautiful and almost satin. It has a glow from within type of look without looking shimmery or with big particles of glitter. It's just the perfect satin blush, which is my favorite formula of blush. I prefer a demi matte or satin type of blush. So these blushes, when you apply only the powder with a light hand, because they're still pigmented even when it's just the powder, and I love to apply them with a slanted brush, they look the best and the most seamless and natural on the skin. For not too much, you already saw it on the clip when I first applied only the powder, how natural it looked on my cheeks. And then when I applied the cream on top, it will just be a little bit more bright. And it's not a bad thing, it's just one thing to keep in mind. Maybe if you're going to an event at night, you can top it off with the cream or just reapply it and apply a little bit of the cream. Since you're gonna be saying hi to everyone and kissing everyone on the cheek, your blush may get a little lost, and when you apply the cream, you will make sure that it's more long lasting. When it comes to the other method that I used to do before, this also helps you make the blushes more subdued if that's what you're looking for. So I would do my cream products first, including the cream product on the Patrick Ta, the cream blush on the Patrick Ta blushes. And then I would set my face with my Laura Mercier translucent or whatever powder I was using, and then I would apply the powder on top. This will also make sure that the blush lasts longer on your skin because you're doing layers, but it will not intensify the blush as the powder and cream method will do. So you could do both because it's makeup, you can play with it, but just keep that in mind. These two tips if you want to make it more subdued. And even a third tip, you can only use the cream if you want to, and then blend it into your skin and mix the cream if it's too bright with a little bit of your foundation in the back of your hand, and then apply it with the same brush on your face. And this cream is super amicable. This is one of those cream products that if you apply it on top of powder, it will not disrupt the powder, it will not look patchy, it will not eat up your foundation. It will just enhance a little bit of a glow, and it will not be tacky, you guys. So either use only the powder, use only the cream, or do the cream underneath and the powder on top on a set face if you want your blush to look more natural and have a light hand. Now let's just go to yesterday's video, and I want you guys to see my reaction with all these blush swatching on my face. I didn't apply She's So LA with these colors, but I applied not too much, just enough, and She's the Moment, which are the 3 new shades. And also I bought She's Blushing because it was one that I wanted to get. So let's just go ahead and watch that entirety of the video so that you can see my first impressions on these colors. Like I said, the formula is not in question. It's just the colors and the method of application that I wanted to just talk about it first, a day after I filmed these clips, because it's one of the ways that you get to know these blushes. And when you purchase them, maybe you don't have the first impression that I had with Just Enough. So let's just go ahead and watch that. Okay, so to start, I'm gonna be swatching on my face the one that I wanted the most, and you guys probably know because you already, I think that today I posted the top 14 blushes from my collection swatched on my face. So you guys know that I love a nude blush. Those are my favorites. So I'm gonna start with the one that I wanted to get the most, which is Not Too Much. And this one, you guys, the packaging is beautiful, but you already know the Patrick Ta packaging. It comes with a cream and a powder, you already know that, and I already said it in the intro. But you can see right here how beautiful and subdued this looks. I know that these blushes are more pigmented than what you can see in the pan, so I just wanted to try it on, and I wanted to try it on its own. I don't want to mess it up with other blushes. Today I'm going to be using the Patrick Ta method, which is I'm going to apply the powder first, and afterwards I'm going to apply the cream, so that you can see how they perform. I have to say, for the She's So LA one, I sometimes use only the powder, sometimes only use the cream, and sometimes I use them both, but I mostly use the cream underneath. So this is something that is not new to me because I've done it before, but it's I can't even remember how it looks on my face because I always feel like the cream on top, it's gonna be sticky. So I'll let you guys know because I can't remember. This is so beautiful, you guys, and I'm gonna show it in low light as well so that you guys can see it, because it's a little bit more pigmented than you would think, and it's not super beige. It also has a hint of a rosy tone to it, which I think is super flattering. This is how the powder looks on its own, and I'm gonna apply the powder on the other side of my cheek, and then I will apply the cream on one side first so that you guys can see the comparison. This is only the powder, you guys, and you can see that it's pigmented. It's not one of those formulas that you would think that it's so pastel that it doesn't show up. This shows up. Now that I'm lowering my lights, you can see how it looks. It's pigmented, it's beautiful, and it has a glowy finish to it. Now with the same brush, I'm gonna go into the cream and I'm gonna apply it on top in the apples of my cheeks. So you can see it here with the cream, how it glows even more. And then here, now it looks more nude and more flat. But you guys, this is pigmented. I was thinking that this was gonna be even lighter or more beigey tone. Not even that, more subdued than what it is. It's still a Patrick Ta blush, definitely, because I can see the pigment right away. It's not something that it's gonna be unnoticeable when you go, or like barely there. Not if you're a fair to light skin tone, for sure. Okay, so first impressions, I love the formula, of course, but if I didn't, I wouldn't have purchased these. So I know that the formula is consistent because I've watched so many reviews throughout the years from these blushes, and I own She's So LA. So I know people are consistent when they review them, but I have to say, you guys, not too much can be too much if you're a fair to light skin tone. I feel like this is super, super pigmented. This is not me going out and nobody noticing that I have a blush and that I only have a flush of color. I'm not saying I don't love it. I love it because I love a blushy look, but I was expecting for this one to be a little bit more subdued, a little bit more nude than what it actually is. I can make myself use a lighter hand with it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see and try to remove these and reapply it with a lighter hand, so that you guys can see it full on like I have it right now, and then with a lighter hand and see how that can go. So far, I feel like I love the shade. I love how bridal this looks. This is the perfect blush for a bride, and since I'm Latin and my clients are Latinas, then I know for most of them, they have a little bit of a tan or more color than I do, so they're gonna be light, medium, tan. Most of my clients are in the middle of the ground, but they have a lot of color. Some of them are olive, some of them are golden, and this type of pink, it's gonna look so beautiful and bridal on them. But on me, this looks, even though it's not super bright, it looks brighter than what I was expecting. So I just wanted to let you guys know this so far, and I still have here She's the Moment, and then also Just Enough, and She's Blushing, that I don't know what I'm gonna think about them. But these, in a way, even though the She's So LA is darker, which is the only one that I can compare it to so far, that one looks more nude than this one. This looks more pink on me. That being said, I love the shade. I'm just so happy that I picked these colors up, because I feel like this will not only work for myself, but for my makeup artistry kit, you guys. And of course, I'm gonna insert a clip from my phone so that you can see how it looks in person, because it looks completely different in the camera. Even though you can see that it looks like I have pigment on my cheeks, it doesn't look as bright as it does in real life. And also what I'm noticing is that it doesn't look completely pink. It looks like an orgasm type of pink without the little chunks of glitter that orgasm has. This is sort of a perfect blush for me, since you guys know that I love orgasm and I've used about 3 of them up full size. So I think that this one is gonna be one that will be selling out for sure. And about the cream on top, before I remove these, it feels like it's dried out, you guys. So it gives you the glow, but it's not tacky whatsoever. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing for me, since I live in a humid weather. I always wear my hair down and I hate when my hair sticks to my makeup. Okay, you guys, so one tip. I was trying to see if I could cover this up, but since the foundation that I'm wearing is my Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer, I applied a little bit on top of the cheek, and now it looks like the blush that I was expecting for it to look at the beginning. But these blushes, the formula is so amazing that they work so good on top of powder. And they have this formula that you can put them on top of powder even when they're a cream, and then you can use the cream and then powder again on top, and they look wonderful both ways. So even though I applied the tinted moisturizer on top, it doesn't look patchy whatsoever, which is a miracle on itself because I used my beauty blender. And it looks like the color that I wanted it to be. So this is more subdued, more nude, and then this is brighter. And of course, you guys, that's a blush hack that I love to do. Whenever I have a blush that is super bright and I want it to be wearable for me, I mix in my foundation or my concealer, and then it will lighten it up enough for it to work with my base or with my face, with my skin tone, without removing the entire pigment, and then it will make it more wearable for me. Now on this side, you guys, you will see a line of demarcation from the concealer because I reapplied my tinted moisturizer and then powder just to do a comparison before showing the next shade on both cheeks, because everyone was wondering the difference between this one, which is not too much, and then the one that has been trending for a while, which is She's Blushing. And it's another one that I got even though it wasn't from the same collection, so I wanted to compare it from one side to the other to see how much difference there is between these two shades. I thought it looked like She's So LA, but She's So LA looks way more yellow on the pan than this one. They both have rosy on them because I think Patrick Ta, he loves the rosy cheek. I've used She's So LA, and when I use it, it looks like a burnt rose instead of a beige. So that's something to keep in mind. They look so similar on the pan. This is not too much, and this is She's Blushing. And let me lower my lighting so that you guys can see the difference even more up close and more in detail. So this is not too much, and this is She's Blushing. This looks a little bit deeper and more of a reddish tone, and this looks more pink, but they look so similar in the pan, you guys. I get now why people were saying that they were so similar. Now you can see the difference more. This is She's Blushing, and this is not too much. This looks more pink, and this in comparison looks orangey right next to it. When I see the pans right in front of me, they look almost like the same shade, but She's Blushing looks a little bit deeper. Yeah, right away this looks warmer than this one. This is more bronzy, and this is more on the pinky side. I love this shade so far. I really love it. I'm building it up so you guys can see it more, but only with one layer it works for me. So this is with 2 layers, like 3 layers of the powder blush. And now let's go in with the cream, which looks a lot darker, you guys. This looks beautiful, but it looks loud in person. So what I've noticed is that since I always use She's So LA, the powder or the cream on the cream, or the cream first and then the powder on top of set powder, I never have this issue with it looking pigmented, dispigmented, because I don't put the cream on top. So when you put the cream on top, the blush will look darker, you guys. So you have to keep that in mind if you have a super fair to light skin tone. So you can see it right there, and then you can see it, this one right here. This one for sure looks lighter in person as well when I put the cream on top of both, because She's Blushing looks as light as not too much when it's only the powder. And now I'm gonna grab the sponge and I'm gonna just make sure to blend the edges. They look similar, you guys, but they're not the same for sure. They're not the same. So this is She's Blushing. And then this one, it's not too much. Okay, you guys, so now I'm gonna swatch just enough, and then She's the Moment on my cheeks, and then this is just enough. And this shade, you guys know how much I love a pink blush, but this being a light baby pink blush, it just it's something so lovely. Again, for bridal, this can be the perfect pop of the cheek. So I want to see how subdued this one is, because I think the two reviews that I watched, people were saying that this had too much white, so it didn't show up that well. But almost everyone that I watched has a tan in comparison to me. This is next to She's Blushing, and then now this is next to Not Too Much. Okay, so I'm going first with the powder. This is bright. For me, this is bright. For me, a light pink. It's Katie from Elimasca. And this has a lot of pigment, you guys. It shows more washed out in camera than it does in person for sure. And I love that it's super cool tone. And now I'm gonna apply the cream on top, and then She's the Moment, I'm gonna apply it on this side of my face, so you guys can see the difference, sort of like a difference between the Dior pink and then the Dior coral, and you guys, that way you can see them and compare them. Okay, this looks almost neon on my face. Okay, you guys, so first impression for this one, I don't really like it so far. I need to try it out more, but this looks extremely fuchsia. It reminds me of Desire by NARS, which used to be a favorite of mine, but this looks too bright. I was expecting it to be lighter, to be honest, not this bright. And maybe when you see the clip from my phone, you can understand me more. So the finish is beautiful, but it looks way too bright on my face. Like, so far, I don't think I would go out with a blush like this one. Maybe I could mix it up or do like a pop of it, or maybe just the powder, but I wouldn't wear this with the cream on top. I think it's too much. Let me see after I compare with She's the Moment if I could save it by applying the tinted moisturizer on top, because I feel like this is definitely too much, and I think the shade is just enough, but I think this is way more than enough. I'm kind of regretting my purchase a little bit, and I thought I was gonna love these because I love light pink blushes, but this is just too much for me. I'm gonna be wearing She's the Moment. These, I'm expecting it to be neon on my cheeks, neon coral, but neon coral, I think it's more doable for a lot of people than this bright cool tone pink. These, it would look even way more natural than this one on my cheeks, but let's just see, because this can surprise me as well. This is She's the Moment next to Just Enough, and then She's the Moment next to She's Blushing, and She's the Moment versus Not Too Much. Right now, what I'm thinking is that this should have been called Way Too Much. That's not that funny when you spend the money on it. It's okay. I can make it work. I know that if I put tinted moisturizer on top, I could make it work. Oh, I thought this was gonna be brighter right away, so I'm liking it so far. So beautiful. Only the powder so far is just so beautiful. I could wear this shade on an everyday basis. Only the powder for sure. It looks so beautiful. I'm gonna build it up. Yeah, that's brighter, but it's so pretty. These I could go ahead and wear going out and whatnot. I'm gonna put the cream on top, which I'm realizing now that I love the finish of the cream on top, but I don't love how more pigmented the blush becomes, because even though I love that for someone that has a deeper skin tone, I don't love it for myself, because I feel like it gets to be too much for me. It's way too bright. Even though I love blush, it gets too bright in my opinion. Yeah, I feel like these blushes, when you put the cream on top, it almost makes them neon. So they become super bright. But this color can be bright and wearable. This one, it just looks so fake in my opinion. Maybe if I apply a lighter concealer and mesh it with the concealer and then pink powder, it can be more subdued, and I'm gonna tone it down and show you guys how it looked toned down with the tinted moisturizer on top. But so far, I think this shade was a fail for me. Now, you guys, this is how She's the Moment looks. It looks way... Well, you can see when I'm turning my face that it looks way brighter in person. But this looks even brighter. It looks wearable in comparison to Just Enough, which is the pink one. Just Enough, and then She's the Moment. And I love She's the Moment on me. I really, really love it. Even though I prefer a cool tone blush nowadays, I'm obsessed with She's the Moment. So all of them were perfect. I think not too much and She's Blushing. They're so similar that I could have gotten something different, but I know those I'm gonna use a ton. Just Enough is just so pigmented that I still don't know if I'm gonna make it work for me. But this is beautiful, you guys. And now let's see with both of them. I'm gonna grab my Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer. I'm the shade 2N1 and this is a little bit darker for me. So I'm really pale, you guys. So 2N1, it's still darker on my skin, but since this is light pigment, I don't mind. So I'm gonna try and subdue it with the sponge first without any foundation. No, this is so bright. This is me after toning it down with the sponge. So bright. And then this is bright, but it's so beautiful and cohesive with my skin. I don't know, this looks so beautiful and universal. And then now that's the amount of tinted moisturizer. I'm dabbing my sponge in it and I'm going in. Okay, it looks way better, but I have to say, you guys, this blush looks brighter than Happy from Rare Beauty, which is a super viral and super pigmented blush. So I'm grabbing a little bit more and I'm subduing She's the Moment to see how it looks, because you guys can apply this trick for any blush that you love with this formula. This formula works with anything on top, and the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer is so lightweight that I think it's not the same as if I would put an Estee Lauder Double Wear on top, because that would erase the blush. This will still let the pigment peek through, but it will just tone it a little bit down. So after the tinted moisturizer, I have here Just Enough, and these I would wear like this, and you probably are watching the clip in which I filmed it on my phone. And then this is She's the Moment with the tinted moisturizer on top. So if I were to rank them right now, for sure the one that I think I love the most, for sure the one that I love the most is Not Too Much. This type of pink, it's something that I enjoy and love, and it's still bright for what I was thinking. Then I know I'm gonna be using She's Blushing at the same rate. Those are similar shades and I have to be realistic. I prefer blushes that are more nude and more neutral. If I had to choose declutter one from these, like I had to just remove one from my collection, it would be Just Enough. For sure this is too bright for me. Then She's the Moment, even though I don't wear coral every day, I thought I was gonna put this one in number 1, but I would have to change my entire taste in blush, because I almost always prefer to wear a subdued blush. But when I wear a coral, I almost prefer a coral over a pink. The fact that I love the Dior coral more than the pink tells you a lot. Coral, it's a good blush on me, and it's almost a universal shade for everyone. And I was gonna add all these other things, but I think I'm gonna do a separate video talking about other blushes, comparing them to these 4 new Patrick Ta blushes. Okay, you guys, so I'm happy that you watched that video, because for the shade Just Enough, I will have to try it again in a more subdued way, and of course I'm gonna use all the 3 methods that I showed you. But I think that this is the only shade that maybe I will fall in love with it in the future, because blush is such a personal thing, but it's also one of those things that when time comes to show, you will change the taste that you have in blush, as I have done with the taste that I have in eyeshadow. When I was living in New York, I remember Desire, which is one of the blushes from NARS, that it's a bright Barbie pink, and this reminds me a ton of it. When I was living in New York, I would buy all the pink blushes and lavender blushes, and those would be my go-to blushes for sure. I would love them. The brighter the better, and I wanted to wear them super blushy. I wanted to wear them and that you could tell that I'm wearing a pink bright fuchsia blush. If that's you, you're gonna love these, because they're so pigmented and beautiful and easy to blend, that this one, if you love a bright cool tone pink, it will be the perfect blush for you. This is the only one that when I was gonna apply the cream, I had to be more careful with the cream. It ended up blending just fine, but it scared me at first because I felt like the white pigment was showing through in a way. And if you have it and you bought it, you know what I'm talking about. But I felt like the white pigment you could see it. So what I'm trying to get at is that now I use more of a subdued blush. I prefer a nude blush over anything and everything. I even prefer a more coral blush, or a more not orangey but more nude orange type of blush than a pink blush, except for when I'm popping my cheeks, and that needs to be something like the Dior 001 Pink, which is a shade that will only enhance a little bit of the cheek, but it will also have a little bit of warmth. So even though it looks cool tone on the pan, so that's something to keep in mind. I love these blushes. I think this one is the one that so far I would regret purchasing, but not too much. She's the moment and she's blushing, I know I'm gonna get a ton of use out of. And I know that for those days that I want them to look super bright, it's easy to make them look bright, but it's a little bit harder to make them look subdued if you just are a person that goes ham with their blush application, which is totally okay because I've been there and I've loved that too. So overall, I love these blushes. I would highly recommend them if you haven't tried the new shades. For sure, Just Enough, it's a special taste for some people, and that's fine. If you love it, please let me know below how you use it. And also, if you have Patrick Ta blushes, let me know your favorite shade from them because they're so beautiful, and I want to try a couple more shades. I want to try She's Wanted, which is super highly pigmented but is sort of a wine color. I'm happy that I did this video and that I purchased these. These were a no thought type of purchase. I just really wanted him to come up with new shades that were lighter, and now I know how to make them lighter, and these are for sure the lightest shades that he has released. The shades that he always released, in my opinion, they're brighter and they're darker. If you were looking to buy his shades, Not Too Much is a good way to start if you love a lighter blush, and then She's the Moment is the perfect blush for spring and summer. Or if you live in a place like the place where I live, where it's summer all year round and the heat is crazy all year round, and you love a bright cheek, whether it's winter or not, whether it's winter, summer, or autumn, then you're gonna love She's the Moment because it's a universal shade that will make you look awake and beautiful. So that's it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoy the blush swatching and the blush comparisons. If you want me to compare it to any other blushes, I'm thinking about filming a video of me comparing side by side face swatches with a couple more blushes, like for example Madly against Not Too Much, which historically Madly has been one of my favorite blushes in my entire collection. I could also swatch it next to Flirtatious, and then She's the Moment. I'm thinking about comparing it to a Milani blush that I own, two Milani blushes that I own, and then also with Dior Coral blush. So you will see that soon here on my channel. If my channel becomes only a blush channel, I would be super happy because I love blush so much. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's talk about makeup in the comment section below. I love you, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.